My colleague Josephine Cheng has corralled another expert or two in the halls of the conference center. She is working the hallways here, checking in with folks. Josephine?
That's right. I have moved to the hallway because this is a prime spot for reaching out, literally reaching out to researchers. And guess who I've reached out to? This is Ed Lazowska from the University of Washington. Welcome.
Hi there.
I know that you have worked with big data and sort of data-intensive discovery for a long time. What is changing that is making it more and more important?
So what's changing is there's a world of sensors now, right? The sort of relentlessly decreasing cost of sensors has meant more and more. So whether it's the density of sensors in a gene sequencing machine or a telescope, or whether it's sensors in roads and bridges and buildings and your environment, there are more of them, and field after field after field that used to be data poor is data rich. And your challenge now is not getting the data, it's extracting knowledge from the data and figuring out what to do with it. Eric Horvitz at Microsoft Research calls that data to knowledge to action. And that's what we have to do for science and for every field.
Finding out what's important, finding the needle in the haystack.
Exactly, finding the needle in the haystack, all right? Credit card fraud detection is an example, but finding events in physics experiments is another example. So we're working with astronomers and oceanographers and biologists and social scientists. If you think about the social sciences, if you want to study the formation and evolution and dissolution of social cliques, you used to pay a bunch of students $6 an hour to participate in a focus group. And
now they need more than that.
Now they need 1 billion users worth of Facebook data, right? So the world is changing for everybody.
I've heard you say this term, that if you are not part of the steamroller, you're part of the road, which is a very funny image, but what do you mean in this context?
Well, it's actually a joke on my website about my personal behavior, which is rolling relentlessly forward despite bureaucrats in the way.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant you have to deal with change or else it'll
well,
topple
that's part
you.
of it as well, yes.
So you're talking about many disciplines that are involved in this. This idea of mining rich data applies to so many things in our life.
Absolutely right, and many things in individuals' lives as well as scientists' lives. But my focus at the university is bringing these techniques of data-intensive discovery to a wide range of fields, and also moving these techniques forward. So it has a lot in common with Microsoft Research, where you're trying to do great research and you're trying to do the translational work in which you make sure that that work is of value. At MSR, it's through Microsoft products, for example. In my world, it's through taking these advances in data-intensive discovery techniques, whether it's visualization or machine learning, and putting them to work for lots of people in lots of fields.
Well, that is very important work. Thank you so much for talking with us about it.
Great to talk to you and great to be here.
All right, thank you, Ed. You know what else? Snagged another one right behind Ed. This is Liz Gerber from Northwestern University.
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
I know that you are very interested in design, and in particular the sort of human interaction between, humans and technology. Why your interest in that?
Oh, I'm passionate about and have been since a little kid, because if you don't have designs that people want to use, they're just designs on the shelf. It's that simple, right? If people don't want to use them, they won't be used, and they're just ideas.
And I know that your research has to do with sort of collective intelligence in order to sort of bringing people together for crowdfunding, crowdsourcing. Tell us more.
Yes. I see a huge opportunity to leverage and tap into the resources of the general public to actually generate new ideas. And I think historically the innovation process has been locked within large companies. And I think there's an amazing opportunity right now with social media and communication technologies to expand participation.
So can you give us an example of how it works and also whether that has resulted in a better product?
Sure. So there's examples in every possible domain. In the domain of computer games, let's say, a lot of designers are now saying, you know what, I'm not gonna work within a big company. I'm actually going to design the game myself, and I'm going to go onto a platform like Kickstarter and actually raise the money for it, and then distribute the product directly to my consumers. And then, curiously, the companies are coming around and saying, and maybe now we'll help you expand that product. So there's this really interesting new balance and relationship between the designer, the creator, and the corporation.
Is there an example of a product where it was vastly improved because of that process?
Oh, yes, many. One was a recent smartwatch that came out. It's a great story because it was a watch that was put out, and the designer initially tried to sell it to a company, and the company said, no, we're not interested. And then they went to, again, on a crowdfunding platform, they put out the product, and people gave them all sorts of ideas for improvement. They said, here's my $30, and here's how I think you should make it better. So they not only got money, they also got feedback for improving the idea. And then when they had the money, they distributed the product, and they had this large consumer base. This is a case in which the company then came back and said, maybe we will buy your product.
Yeah, on second thought.
Exactly.
What is that smartwatch?
That's the Pebble Watch.
Wow, so interesting. And I love your motto, which is instead of do it yourself, it's design it together. Is that sort of the trend of the future?
I think that's the trend of the future. It's a new world of designing it together, and technology, social computing allows us to be able to do that much more efficiently and effectively than before.
That's great. Interesting research. Thank you so much, Liz,
Thank you.
for
Thank
being
you.
with us.
Thank you.
And hopefully all that is going to mean better products for us end users in the end.